The 2015-16 English Premier League season is officially started. Match day 1 is in the books. There were a lot of surprising results when it comes to the top 4 teams of this league. When it came to Arsenal, we know they were coming off a Community Shield win over Chelsea, only to drop a goose egg in their first match. And as for the defending champs, the Blues were fortunate to come away with just 1 point in their opener. And as for the Manchester clubs, United, they're lucky to have 3 points. And as far as City goes, they were the class of match day 1. So it looks like we're in store for an interesting EPL season. And honestly, I can't wait for it to unfold. But let's discuss these match day 1 results next on Football Weekly, powered by the Best Damn Sports Blog. A celebration of the world's most beautiful game, spanning the globe from North America to Europe and back, including Champions League, La Liga, English Premier League, Bundesliga, Ligue 1, and much, much more. Welcome to Football Weekly, powered by the Best Damn Sports Blog. EPL Match Day 1 is in the books, so we're going to focus on the EPL for this edition of Football Weekly. And I'm surprised by results of 3 of the 4 top teams in the EPL. That would be Arsenal, Manchester United, and the defending champs, Chelsea. As for Arsenal, they were pathetic against West Ham. They lost 2-0 due to 2 Petr Cech errors. Petr Cech played the ball poorly on a set piece, and then on a strike from outside the box by Mauro Zarate, he played it poorly and got beat to the near post. And this was supposed to be the signing that everyone was telling me put Arsenal over the top and the favorites to win the EPL title for those who picked Arsenal. Well, so far, not so good. And to be honest, I never was in love with the Petr Cech signing. I mean, he's a good goalkeeper to bring in, but I thought Ospina did well for them last year. And if Cech is going to continue to have these type of errors, maybe they need to go back to Ospina. Now, Cech didn't have anything to do with the fact Arsenal put up a goose egg against West Ham. Arsenal were poor in their attacking third when it comes to finishing. And this also just goes to show that preseason form does not necessarily mean anything when it comes to league play. Arsenal were great during their preseason run. And in their first game of the season, 0. Olivier Giroud, I'm sorry. With him as your main striker, you are not going to win the EPL. He's a good striker. But with him at the forefront, it's just not going to happen. Arsenal are still going to finish top 4. I'm not overreacting to this loss to West Ham. They created chances. They still have players with a lot of class, such as Mesut Ozil, as well as Alexis Sanchez, Santi Cazorla. They have the talent. So they'll be in the top 4. But number 1, I just cannot see it for Arsenal. And in match day 1, they sort of proved it. Now, Alexis Sanchez is still not fully fit. He only played about 30 minutes of the game, maybe 20. So maybe that partly has something to do with their loss, because as soon as he came in the game, Arsenal, they were creating much better chances. So maybe once Alexis is fully fit, back starting, Arsenal will resemble what we saw towards the latter end of last season. But their back 4 and the fact that they have Olivier Giroud makes it hard to believe Arsenal can hoist the EPL title at season's end. Moving on to the Blues, the defending champions Chelsea. In their debut, they were only able to come away with the 2-2 draw with Swansea, which is a quality side. Not a top tier club, but not a club to sneeze at. Definitely respectable. The Blues were up 2-1 at halftime. It looked like they were going to cruise. But then in the second half, early, Courtois made a bad challenge, which led to a red card and a spot kick. Swansea converted, and from that point on, it was all Swansea. And Chelsea were pretty much lucky to not concede another goal. I mean, Swansea had ample amount of chances in the second half. And what's most alarming about the Blues is during the preseason, they couldn't score goals and they were conceding. Last season, they held their head on the fact that their back four was the most consistent of any team, probably in all of Europe, but definitely in the English Premier League for sure. And for that reason, I picked Chelsea to win the EPL for a second straight year. But if their back four is going to be that dysfunctional and play that poorly for a lot of the season, then the EPL may be wide open to win for the likes of Arsenal, Man United, or Manchester City. This Chelsea side has enough when it comes to going forward. And their back four has been their bread and butter. If their bread and butter is now gone, they're in trouble. Now, I don't expect that to happen. I expect Chelsea to turn things around, and maybe this was just the first week of the season. Got to fill out the kinks with their back four and their midfield. But going forward, I expect Chelsea to turn things around and for them to resemble the team that rarely conceded many goals. But this upcoming match for Chelsea this weekend will be a true test. They'll have to travel to the Etihad to face off against Sergio Aguero and Manchester City. If they look as poor against Manchester City as they did against Swansea when it comes to their defensive back four, then this may be a long season for Chelsea, and we may have a new EPL champion come season's end. As for Manchester City, they were the class of match day one, thrashing West Brom 3-0, up 2-0 at halftime, finished them off with the second half goal by Vincent Kompany. Yaya Toure had a brace in the first half, and it was a fantastic display from City, scoring all three goals without Sergio Aguero. So that's a good sign right there. Aguero started on the bench, was subbed in around, I believe the 67th minute, and played relatively well. And the new signing, Raheem Sterling, he was all right. He had a chance on a goal that I thought he should have put away, but the keeper, in fact, blocked it. And for 49 million British pounds sterling, he should definitely be putting away those chances. So I expect bigger things from Raheem Sterling in the future, but Manchester City were the only team to really take care of business as far as the top four teams in United, Chelsea, City, and Arsenal. Yes, West Brom was probably the weakest opponent that all four faced, but at the same time, this is the result we expected from all four teams. And Manchester City was the only one to go out and do it. You have to give credit where credit is due. First week of the season, they handled their business. Their preseason tour was not great either. Now, as for City and their title hopes, for me, it's hard to say. They were impressive in week one, and I am more optimistic in believing that they could possibly win the EPL title. But the fact that they didn't add a center back during the summer transfer window so far to pair with Vincent Kompany, I just don't know. Last year, we seen their back four fail them time and time again. That's what put them out of the race for the EPL title last year. And they have not improved it. Now, they are targeting Kevin De Bruyne of Wolfsburg. And if they are able to land him, all bets are off. Because he's a great playmaker. And yes, City's back four will still be the same. But I think they could possibly go out there and outscore teams and win the title that way, with the addition of Kevin De Bruyne to pair with Silva, Aguero, and Sterling, with Nasri and Navas on the bench. That is as potent as it gets going forward in the EPL if they're able to land Kevin De Bruyne. And I think it would be possible for them to win despite their back four if they are able to land De Bruyne. So we're going to have to wait and see when it comes to City. But they'll definitely be a top four team. Last but not least, on to the Red Devils of Manchester United. In their opener, they defeated Tottenham 1-0. And it was pretty much a lucky 1-0 victory, but a typical 1-0 victory for United under Van Gaal, where it's ugly and it's a grind-out victory. but it's so Man United under Van Gaal. They won by an own goal committed by Kyle Walker, who otherwise played great for Tottenham. But his own goal saw Man United through to 3 points in the W. And Manchester United, they were very fortunate because Tottenham, they had as many shots, had 3 more shots on goal, had a better aerial success, more take-on dribbles, and more tackles, and split possession 50-50 with United. So Tottenham, by the numbers, should have won this match, and own goal was the difference. And Manchester United, we know they've made the biggest splash of the big teams in the summer transfer window, adding the likes of Schneiderlin from Southampton, Bastian Schweinsteiger from Bayern Munich. They brought those two in to bolster their midfield. They brought in Depay to help their attack. And they also brought in Sergio Romero as a possible replacement for De Gea in goal. And surprisingly, Romero played well against Tottenham because for Argentina, especially in the Copa America, he was not great. And most don't even think he's worthy of the United job at goalkeeper. But in week 1, match day 1, he played very well for United. They got the W. There's really not much you can say about Man United. When I look at this club, I just don't see them being a legit threat to win the title. They'll definitely finish top 4. Now, if they're able to land Pedro, that'll liken United's chances, but not very much. Their back 4 just isn't good enough. Their midfield is great. Their attack is good. And their goalkeeper is also a question mark. And for that fact, United, I think they'll be in a race with Liverpool for that 4th and final spot in the EPL. Well, I'm going to end it here. That does it for Football Weekly. Hit the comment sections. Let me know who will be in the top 4 in your estimation. And also, critique these 4 teams and how you think they did in their first matches of the season. Salute.